So welcome back to the Great North Garage, and today we have valve shims for the Ferrari 308. I'm going to show you my attempt at changing these, or my successful attempt I should say. The main reason it's overdue. Ferrari specs these to be inspected every 15,000 miles. This car has a little over 90,000 on it now. I've put 8 or 9 of those on the car, and the service records, which are quite extensive from the day one of this car being purchased, including the last 5 years that I've owned it, they show the valve shims being inspected in 2011, and the mileage is unclear in the records of what it was at the time. So it's definitely overdue, and we're already in there because we have the cam covers off to chase a couple oil leaks. So while we're in there, we're just gonna do it. The cam cover off, and we've got everything exposed, and we've got the valve shims right here, and the cam lobe's right here. So we have to manually turn the engine till the cam lobe's up, and the clearance is all the way on the valve shim. And I've already went through and measured all the gaps between everything and made notes of the sizes. And then I took the shims out, measured the shim, and ordered the shim according to the amount of space we have to take up. Because if it's out of tolerance, the tolerance is too big because they wear. It's never smaller. So a few of them are out. They're all out a little bit, nothing crazy. Probably would have been fine without doing this, but I did want to get everything apart and fix a couple little oil leaks with a couple of drips here, and they're nothing crazy, but I figure it's probably overdue anyway, so let's get started, and I'll show you how we do this. We had to get a couple of tools from Hill Engineering, which is, it's a little kind of like a pry bar. You got to push down on the valve shims to get enough gap there to get the shim out. And then it also comes with a little kind of a hook that sort of pries in there and holds it open. Okay, so we got the cam lobe facing up, so we got a little bit of gap here under the shim. This should be able to spin freely. There's two little gaps, one on each side of this ring that sort of holds the shim in place. Make sure that is visible and exposed, because you might need to get a little pick in there to pry out the shim if it doesn't want to come out super easy with a magnet. So we take our little pry bar, and we kind of jam it in there. And if you push down on it, it'll actually push the shim down a little more, compress the spring underneath it. And then we just put this little guy in here. And if we get it in the right spot, it will hold the shim open. Just like that. So this guy's, just the edge of it is pushing down on this ring. So now the shim's free to come out. And I didn't take my own advice there because the little gap moved. So we got lucky though. Came out just with a magnet. And on the bottom of these shims, the number's labeled, so that's 3.80. And the top is, I don't know if it's worn or not, but we did measure it, and actually most of these are the same as the number, so they didn't wear too much. But I have a 3.87 to take up 0.7 of a millimeter. 0.07 of a millimeter, I should say. And I did check it with a micrometer just to make sure, because you want to make sure you're not putting the wrong size or they weren't mislabeled or something. So it is the right size. So if we did our tolerances and math right, this should actually take up the difference and be within the tolerance of the Ferrari spec. So all we do is slide that back in, number facing down, pop that right back in. And then we'll get the pry bar back in there to take a little tension off of this guy. And that's it. Pop it out. This thing should spin freely again. Make sure it's not sort of half in there and not in there flush and clean. And that's it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our feeler gauge and see if it is within the 0.3 to 0.35. I should say 0.2 to 0.25 because it's an intake. That's an intake on the top, the bottoms of the exhaust. So it should be between 0.2 and 0.25. This used to be 0.31. So we should be down to about 0.25 now, right at the bottom of it, if all goes well. It's actually a little tight. So maybe we're a little too small on that one. It does go in there, but it's a little tighter than you probably want. It's right at the bottom of it, but I think we're okay there. It does wear in time, so it's only going to get bigger. So being right at the bottom, you probably want to be another 1/10 or 2 over. Close like up a little bit, somewhere in the middle of the tolerance, but I think we're okay there. Some of them are a little tricky to get out. That's 3.8, and we want a 3.82 in there. Not a big difference, but we got a 3.82. We're gonna double check the size. Number goes down, slide it in there. I did check the tolerance on it, or the thickness on it, and it was just as listed. Pop that up. Let's get our trusty feeler gauge, and we're gonna, hopefully that brought it up to, or down to a 0.33. So where are we on here with that? 0.33, that's 0.33, and hopefully that's the, yeah, that's it. 0.33 is a little, it's not super snug, but it's snugger than it was, so that's good. We're heading in the right direction. We'll try a 0.3, what's the next size up here? 0.38, that should not fit in there. No, it does not. That's good. So we're in tolerance on that one too. And we just do that 16 times, and we're good to move on to the next step and trying to button this thing up and get some oil leaks stopped.